Muy bien, pues bienvenidos todos a este nuevo webinar de la Red Política por los Valores.
For values, in which I believe that we are having new records, reaching new records. There is a lot of expectation, and we have the honor of having with us Jose Antonio Cast and also Jaime Mayor Oreja, who a lot of you already know very well. He's the former Minister of Interior for Spain. He's the co-founder and president of this political network. He will do his introduction and then he will pass the word to Jose Antonio Cast. And then we will listen his presentation and then we will hold a sort of webinar. There are plenty of persons, at least from 10 countries. Jaime, thank you very much for being with us today. And I just pass the floor to you immediately. Thank you very much, Lola. It's for me a great honor and pleasure to be in this conference about these politics of Chile. I would like to give a really short introduction. Although Jose Antonio Cast doesn't need to be presented, but we are in a very delicate moment in our societies, from the point of view of our Occidental societies. Anything that is happening is not for chance. In Europe, we are having a really decadent Western society. It seems that we are at the final times. There are no permanent references. We are really weak. We can see these weaknesses everywhere, and there are many persons that just don't like our civilization, and it seems that there is a socialization of the nothing, and there is a really huge disorder, and the disorder, the far disorder, it's something new in our lives, in our personal lives. It's really different. It's very different. And the violence also has appeared. That's why it's really important, this transatlantic dialogue for values. The problem is that very few people listen to us. So all those that are not within this network, they just didn't care about us. But it's great that Lola just started this dialogue. Katalin Novak is helping us a lot, and hopefully she will become the president of Hungary. We had meetings in Madrid, in Valencia, and we have in all these places a Christian basis or basics or fundamentals. Of course, we are talking about religious division. We don't want everyone sharing our religious dimensions, but at the moment we can find ourselves in a really difficult situation. That's why it is so important to continue insisting on these topics. This is the case of the crisis of the Western civilization. That's why I would like to really introduce you a person, Jose Antonio Cast, who had a great result in the presidential elections of Chile, reaching almost the 50%. He's a person who always defended his values. He's a reference not only for Chile, but to all of those uh, for whom this is an important priority. It's a more important priority than ever. So I just can tell you about Jose Antonio Cast that he's our expectation, he's a reference person, that I wish him all the best. His strategy needs to be implemented in Chile, and they are living, of course, a very deep crisis that we are living, experimenting in all the Western society. I think, Jose Antonio, you will do this presentation in a really delicate moment from the point of view of the existence of the Western civilization. Well, thank you very much, Jaime, for this introduction. Thank you very much for your great and permanent work, because as Lola told, you used to be Minister of Interior, but nowadays you're a representative of our values and principles worldwide, and and you're a great group, a great team, uh, and you are helping a lot in our work with this sort of generosity. Hundreds of persons that share these values, and once more, I would like um, to raise the opportunity to thank you for your help in this context of several difficulties, and of course. There are many problems, many difficulties, but at the end, we are just small instruments in the hands of God. And this gives us a lot of opportunities. And when someone falls of us, there is someone else that stands up and continues. So thank you very much for the Political Network for Values, because permanently you are inviting us. And as Jaime told, sometimes um, uh, uh, we just don't care about the global situation. This is happening at national level in our countries, but also at international level. And as and our adversary, that is the most radical leftists, they are always playing their bad games, and but 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 anyway, this is something what happened with the wall of Berlin. They changed the strategy, and for example, here in Latin America, we had a forum of Sao Paulo, taking into consideration Latin America, the Caribbean region. Often we just take care of our countries, but they are the leftists are much more internationalists. That's why it's really important this job being carried out by the Political Network for Values. We are different countries with different social contexts, but we have really different problems. Before starting this presentation, I would like to share some reflections about what is happening in Ukraine. There is a great case of intolerance. There is a country characterized by its by the expansion just attacked Ukraine. And of course, many times we can see that there are countries that condemn different things linked to the family, linked to the pro-life activities, cases like Hungary or Poland. But all these countries just uh, don't do anything when we are talking about situations like the situation of Venezuela or Ukraine. In this moment, the president of Ukraine just has been abandoned. He's alone in his fight. So from this far corner of the of the world, I there is we have a new member of the parliament of the Republican Party. He says that actually the fact that we were defeated, it wasn't really a defeat, it was a sort of triumph, a victory. And from this far uh, corner of the country, we can say that many people say that Chile is in a bad crisis in these moments. But during the last 40 years, we just have shown that with our economical development, we reached a better life quality, a better quality of any aspects of the life. And the leftists say that our life quality is much. There are countries like Venezuela and Cuba where the life quality is better, but it's strange because from those countries, people is just going to immigrating to Chile from the south to the southern part of the Latin American continent. Um, so if there is a country with good social politics, then it's really possible to progress, and it can be reached to change things. We could consolidate our democracy here in Chile with the help of people that had a really positive view of the society. These ideas now are in a big trouble. And here I would like to share the first message with you. It's a message that we are repeating always, even after this defeat, is that we just never can put down our hands, our arms. We have to continue working. We need to continue working when we are at the end of the tunnel and we can see the light, because the tragedy of many of our friends and colleagues that at the end of the tunnel they just don't continue. It is really important to be occupied all the time and not preoccupied. In Chile, we often say that people is worried is for the different things. They are occupied, but they are not doing nothing. They are not occupied. They don't care about the education. Take care what is happening at social level in the country. Um, we believe that there are others doing the work. When we don't do the work, we are not involved. There are others that do it, and that's where the leftists just don't leave us to work. So we need to do everywhere what Lola is doing. Uh, Carlos Polo is always working. Rodrigo Cortes, he never stopped working. So they are activating many people. And this is what I would like to convey. This is the message that I would like to convey you, that this is a continuous job that we have to do. And when our Lord will call us for the eternal rest, then we are going to have a lot of time to have rest. But nowadays we have to work and pro our families, our um, beliefs, and alone it is not possible. We are not superheroes. Uh, when I was younger, I just didn't speak, but nowadays they have to put me the red lights, the green lights to stop me speaking.
combatimos con fuerza.
But if we do this battle with strength, we will continue this battle all the time. It can be told that in Chile there is a really good model, but what they did, it's a sort of populism, populism taken from the questionnaires. This I would call questionarities. It's a big a big problem in our country. So the populism affected us in a really negative way, and yeah, and it is strange because as much they did what the questionnaires suggested, they just were losing more and more their popularism. When the left-wing parties are defeated, they just have their institutions. They established themselves, let's say, in the justice. So they are talking about the law, they are talking about legislation, but the judges, this sort of politicized judges, say that there is an international organization that dictates our rules that we need to respect, that we need to accomplish with, and they are really active. So they were establishing themselves in the education, in the healthcare, the communication, and this ideology appear in all these sectors. And we need to use we need to use the common sense against these. So the most important question is this reasonable for you? See, yes or no? 7 months ago, we were defeated. We were defeated during the presidential elections. We lost to 80-20. Only the 20% continued with our ideas, and that's why we appeal for the common sense of the people, and we say that there are a few people who say that they will put reforms to everything, and they just say it in an ideological basis, and that's why we had bad government. Many people did a very good job, but the leadership wasn't the really good one, and President Piñera just couldn't really manage the really complicated, really difficult moments, and then we started a constitutional procedure in a worst case scenario. During the pandemic situation, Chile did it very well as far as the healthcare is concerned, but we didn't do it so well within the social aspect of the pandemic situation. So
people started believing without sticking to the slogan, to the lies of the opponents, and we can see a complex process in Latin America, and we can see how this makes headway in Colombia and Brazil, where the situation is pretty complicated. But based on certain convictions, we managed to turn around this complex situation. and this was the diagnosis. So we had a stable situation. We were good at world level. Then we were affected by violence, by a pandemic. We had the bad leadership, and we had to make headway. And in 7 months, we could turn this around. And what we have been doing from 2016, when in quotation marks we were defeated again, because in the presidential elections we only had 8% of the national voters, and we kept on working without deputies, without administrative positions or executive positions, without any representativity. We kept on working because we were convinced that here it doesn't really matter whether we lose or win the elections. It doesn't matter how much of a movement we represent, but it's the convictions that really matter. And we did not compromise in this respect. In 2017, when we came up with a political alternative and had only 8%, and in the 4 next years. And the youngsters who were elected deputies kept on working in spite of all the adversity. And we said that let's try to go on. So they did not give up their principles just to be in the governing party. So they stuck to their convictions, convictions like life, family, freedom, which in quotation mark is going backward in world public opinion. But together with the conviction, other elements are also retained. One is audacity. We need to be daring in terms of risk-taking, because otherwise we say, no, I do not dare. Someone has to raise their voice and say, dare. And that was our slogan. Dare to defend what you believe in. Dare occupy the spaces. And this audacity, we never lost that. Empathy, because we do not defend our principles and values if we are moderated, but this also requires empathy towards the people. In these 7 months, we had all the youngsters who were jumping and shouting against Agustin Piñera and against the so shouting against Sebastián Piñera and saying that you were the aggressor. And in 7 months, we had a huge number which were singing, minors actually singing Vota dos, Vota cast. In social media, you can see in TikTok and Instagram and so on, you can see no politicians speaking seriously, saying that we need to defend this, otherwise the world will come to nothing. But we try to become something, part of something that gives hope, that looks into the future. And we made use of music and technology in order to be able to reach these youngsters who the left thought that they were already conquered. But nothing is for good. We need to be daring, and we need to have empathy. We need to link ourselves. This is why it is so important to have meetings with the physical presence, to show that we indeed like this. It is not our interest, and this transforms realities. And something else is analyzing our opponent, because the radical left, be it social or cultural left, will adapt to the reality. They hide their true self, that they are like Lenin or Stalin. They raise the image of Che Guevara, but this Che Guevara is fictitious imagery. It's dreamlike, and we need to analyze our opponents. And the left always keeps evolving. When we lost the 80-20 battle, it was for different causes, called the cause of the woman, of the animals, of the gender, where the left was getting active, and all this flows together towards a common cause. It's like different subsidiaries of the very same river. So the left keeps changing its form, but not its background, not its gist. So very often we also need to change our form, but not our essence. So our headway was especially in social media. We said that we lost the street and social media. We recovered the social media in spite of the censorship, in spite of the press that directs social media. If we are skillful, I can say that my Twitter account is not very big. It has 560,000 followers, but I was not blocked. So within their systems, we can also say that without being censored, this ideological left that dominates the social media, we could make headway. And we kept recovering the street as well. The left is intolerant, and every time we went to the street, they hit us, they intimidated us. But in social media, we could make a lot of headway, and we need to go on making progress, and we need to go on along this way. And we need to make this discreetly. And when we report the crimes of the left, and we report how cunning they are, then they change their tactics. So we need to be very clear about this. They come up with a subject, and when they already gained a certain space, they uncovered their mask and they show their true self, and they start to segregate, to install censorship, and they end up canceling our identity, and we end up being persecuted continuously by this left that wishes to annihilate us as people. And we need to do the silent work similarly to the left, but for a good purpose, for a positive purpose. And this is what we found here in Chile, and which also found its echo in several other countries, like Vox, that comes up with a constant permanent political alternative, or what happened in Poland and Hungary. So these are governments that are inspired by these set of values. And we can also affirm with pride that our Republican experience in Chile has been a success story. And our has actually a seal, similarly to Vox and others. In Chile, we managed to identify Republicans as serious people, as people who have an identity, as people who go forward, as people who tell the truth, even if it hurts, people who act well. They often are accused as extremists, but we managed to prove that populism is the furthest away from ourselves. And I believe that this also affects other realities, other political realities in Latin American terms. And this fills us with pride, because this creates Republican models in other nations, because this shows that it works out in other countries. 4 years ago, we were a minority. 4 years ago, we also only had 8%. And at the presidential elections, we had less than 20, and in the first primaries, we almost reached 30. In the second round, it was 44% that we achieved this time. All this means that people really evaluate us as our values. The people evaluate honesty. So at the beginning, we are not understood, but when we keep being coherent and we are consistent, then this creates trust in the people. The size of the movement does not matter. I had an active senator who was assassinated by leftist terror, and this senator says that we need to conquer the hearts and not the votes of the people, because the heart stays faithful, and they stay faithful with their political convictions. In certain moments, this requires changes, yes, but strategic and not essential changes. So initially, we did not make proper use of the social media. Now we do. This is a change of our strategy and not of our essence. We never renounced, we never gave up our main principles, like the liberty of freedom, of religious practice, the defending life, the importance of family, all these values. And without censoring the others, but always welcoming the worries and doubts of the other, but never giving in. So we need to make people reflect and think about what we say, and realize what is our true principles and values. We did lose our elections, but in the end, actually, we won, and we won a lot. We promoted a balance in the Senate. We achieved a balance in both in the Senate and in the Chamber of Deputies. We had no deputies, now we have 12, and we have representatives in both regional and communal representations, and we also participate in the civil organizations. We didn't start with political parties. We started out 8 years ago by starting at an NGO, which was called Influyamos. And then we created the Foro Republicano, the Republican Forum, which was much more about learning and teaching. And then we created the Acción Republicana, reformulating. So we didn't say it was planned, but it was an action because this motivates the people. And then we created de Chile, which is another institution. And in the end, we created a center of studies entitled Republican Ideas. And we had this culture working. And then we knew that it's time to create a political party, which cost us a lot, which was difficult because we were surprised by the violence in the street. And we were affected by the pandemic when we didn't have in Chile the technology to achieve to reach out to the people electronically. And still we came up with a political party, which to us is a means and not an end. It's a party that allows, entitles us to participate at elections, but our life is not only about the party. It's much wider, much more comprehensive, because the people in general are not sticking to parties, but they stick to principles, to causes, to models, but they do not like political parties. Therefore, the action that we carry out goes a lot beyond that of a political party. This is what we learned. We learned from the left as well. The left very often comes up with different civil organizations of civil society, and we also learned from this. And we have the 5 institutions of civil society, and hopefully we will have the 6th, 7th, 8th, or even 10th civil organization fighting for different causes, but always pointing towards the very same end. In 2017, we lost, and we only got 8%. In 2021, we lost in quotation mark, but we achieved 44%. So this means that the next time we will lose, we will win, sorry. But the important thing is not losing or winning, but sticking, being faithful to our principles and never giving up. This has been our formula, and I would like to thank you because you never gave up, and this gives us hope. This provides us hope that our weakness and our littleness also enables us to become big. So thank you very much for this opportunity and all the attention that you paid to me. Thank you. Thank you, Jose Antonio, for all this wonderful presentation. We actually are beating our participation record. So there are about 380 participants and from 22 different countries, actually. Before handing over the floor, because I don't know if Jaime wishes to make a final comment, but then we would open the colloquium. But I would like to mention that some of the people who follow us in the here, who might also ask for the word. So Cecilia Romero from Mexico, Francisco Jose Contreras, National Deputy from Spain, Javier Jantus from the municipality of Huerbona in Argentina, Nicolas Mayorasquez from Argentina, and MP, Joana Torres, Deputy from Mexico, Luis Fernando Sanchez, an MP from Chile, Martin Palves, also from the from Argentina, and people from Colombia, MP Rodrigo Goñi from Uruguay. And we also have the youngest MP from Chile with us, Pellegrin Castillo, also vice president of one of the political parties of the Dominican Republic and member of our executive board. And from Peru, Andrea Garzón, from Colombia, representing the Joven de la Red organization, because the organization, the role of the youngsters is of key importance, and it's very important to comprehend, to include also youngsters. So we always strive to have young representatives. Andrea is here with us. And if we have any other legislator, please inform me via chat and I will hand you the floor. Jaime, I don't know if you wish to make any comment, and then we will have the, we'll open the floor. So I'm very much in agreement with Jose Antonio, and I would like to say that undoubtedly he achieved a huge progress, and he's a reference to all of us. So congratulations, Jose Antonio, one more time. So if anybody wishes to participate, please ask for the floor. And until then, Jose Antonio, there are several questions in the chat. David Ibanez, another youngster from the network, says, looking back retrospectively, would you have changed anything in your electoral campaign? Oh, lots of things I should have stressed more. I should have visited the 345 communes of Chile and not only the 300 that we achieved. We could have done so many other things as well, but in terms of basic things, I wouldn't have changed it. The human grouping that we formed stuck together, kept together, and this is very important. And now we can say that, well, we indeed kept faithful to the people who are faithful to us, and we can improve things, of course, always, but be in terms of technology. You are an example to us in terms of technology. We were never so punctual, never so perfect to start a webinar or a Zoom meeting where everything works out just fine. So all these things need to be improved. But maybe we should have spent more time in dealing with youngsters in order to multiply our efforts. And I am actually happy because with 12 MPs elected for the Republican Party, we'll multiply our work until reaching the infinite, because I am, if I am active, thinking of the youngsters, we have the youngest MP in Chilean political history, a very courageous person. And she is actually a small person, a little person, but very, very courageous. quoting from the Bible, or Luis Fernando Santos, who is there, who is very big in terms of political protests. So the two of them actually will never be in one photo, being so different in size. But he visited the most difficult places and saying that this should not be done like that. So the youngsters are our future. We need to make even more youngsters enthusiastic. We need to give them responsibility. So we shouldn't transmit them that you don't know, but we need to give them opportunity to develop. They will make mistakes, sure, just like ourselves. Who does not make mistakes? But if we believe that we are the lords of what is to come, then we are mistaken. We have to hand over responsibility to the youngsters. So we always need MPs with experience, and we also have the vice president of the so-called Alabanca. And we will have in the future a situation when the president will be youngster, the vice president will be somewhat older. The Argentinian senator also said the very same thing, and we pass the floor to the Colombian senator, Maria Rosario.
Thank you very much, Lola. Greetings to Jaime Mayor Oreja.
So
Greetings to Jose Antonio Casta. They did a great work, and I'm really sad that he didn't become president of Chile. I would like to. I have three reflections, three ideas. What do you think about that? The invasion of Ukraine? I believe that our silence is somehow accepting what's. It's an acceptance of what's happening in Ukraine, and we should express our solidarity with the Ukrainian Parliament. we should raise our words. Just happening to democracy, and we should avoid what is happening in Ukraine. And there is a second things that was mentioned by Mr. Casta. You were talking about the UN helping the different processes, as for example the agreement with the FARC in Colombia, but they are really slow, and they don't do anything for stopping this unilateral invasion of Ukraine. And so these international organizations should be rethought. They should help to the institutionalization of the democracy, and we are going to have elections in Colombia, and we can see from your example the huge risks that this sort of populism of the leftists and their leaders, that many of them were guerrilleros. They have the hands dirty of human blood, and it seems that we may have the same agenda that you had in Chile, and they are recognizing that they will do a lot of things against the democracy, and they will become sort of dictators. That's why it is really important for me, this fora, a person like Jose Antonio in a very such a short time reached real alternatives, and and he's fighting fighting for Chile. I would like to reiterate the huge work that Lola and her team is doing, and I would like to wish you, Jose Antonio, keep doing what you are doing, and then we can show that it is really possible with a clear message. Uh, it is possible to defend the principles, the Christian principles of these countries that helped us to keep our liberties, our freedom. Thank you, Lola.
Muchas gracias, María del Rosario. Hay muchísimas
Thank
preguntas.
you very much, Maria Rosario. There are many of questions.
Bueno, a lo mejor José Antonio quieres comentar.
Maybe Jose Antonio, you would like to
Hago también un pequeño resumen.
answer something,
Muchísimas, algunas se refieren al proceso constituyente y a sus principales.
because there are many questions about the constitutional procedure.
Sobre todo para los otras preguntas son en relación con
There are other
la
questions
candidatura
about
de
the
2026,
future,
otra vez estos 2 años
whether you will
en
present as candidate for the next elections in
poderes del
Chile,
propio partido,
and your function within the party,
si
the
quieres lo
Republican Action. Would you like to answer these questions? Well, what has been told by Maria Rosaria, it is really true. We need somehow to manifest ourselves against the invasion in Ukraine. We have to keep showing to the web today that the global, the international organizations are not accomplishing with their tasks. They just so we can see, for example, the narco-terrorism established in Venezuela. They didn't do anything. Michelle Bachelet, it's the person in charge of the human rights, a great person, but we need to manifest until our voice is heard. We need to be much more active at the level of the international organizations. We need to insist in this in our countries. We need to show show a line to these international institutions. And risk of the populism, it is present in every country. We need to foment this sort of social leadership. Many times we are responsible for teaching people in politics, and when we are defeated, we need to learn how to become stronger. We need to clean the politics because both sides, left and right wings, are somehow invaded by nepotism, and people many times just don't believe that we are going to be different. As far as the constitutional process is considered in Chile, uh, uh, there is a really negative image of the President Piñera, because many people just voted against the President Piñera, and there is an internal microclimate, and they have their values. They want to. They approved in this convention. They approved the free abortion, the freedom of expression. They are trying to to make from Chile a plurinational country, not a pluricultural country, but a plurinational country. The indigenous minorities are important, of course. So this is a very complex context, a very complex situation. There are people from the centrist parties or the moderate right parties. They say that this is not okay, this is not correct, we should do things in a proper way, but the left-wing parties are progressing very hard, and just as, for example, on the 15th of November, there was accepted the agreement for the peace. In the 17th of November, we voted that this is an illegal agreement, and the convention is making law in such an extreme way that it is not correct. Our position is that so we are consolidating our position right now. We wanted to see what are they able to do, and now within the new parliament we will start our work close to the citizens, showing them where could we arrive with this leftist government. So and the next elections are very far, and I consider that this is a really important job for the future, and our principal objective was just somehow save our political objective, and we reached in that moment the 15% of the votes, but the situation allowed us to reach almost the 30% of the first round and send 15 MPs within the agreement. The really important is that we are there prepared. Sorry, it's always important to progress, and I always say that I'm as a Boy Scout. I'm always prepared. I'm always ready. If I won't be there, there will be someone else. There will be someone else who will raise the flag for the others. If God gives me health, I will be there. But this time, the third time won't depend on me. It will depend on which will be the best strategy to win in that time. I could say that okay, I'm the leader of the rightists, and I will keep going there. I will keep presenting myself for the presidential elections, but I may not continue as president of our party. And José Manuel Rojo Eluas was elected. It's a senator. He's the Rojo means red, so he's the only red senator from the right-wing parties, and we are adapting ourselves to the future. We have our centers, and I was leader of the Acción Republicana, or Republican Action, which is really linked to the social context of a country. And of course, in that time, I still kept working on the politics as well. But really important is to find always the leadership. And in that time, they were talking always about caste. And nowadays we are a reference. We are the Republicans, and we need to use this opportunity. Cecilia Romero from Mexico asked a word from the party Acción Nacional, National Action. I think there are some persons who need to leave us in a certain moment, but anyone who wants to keep, who want to continue with us, they can stay with us. And
ha participado en los eventos de la red. Cecilia, adelante.
so, Cecilia, the word is yours. Thank you very much, Lola. It's a pleasure. Don Jaime, Jose Antonio, it's a pleasure to see you here. Thank you very much for this opportunity, for this great share of experience. First of all, I would like to say that I'm really attracted by this word, attrevere, dare to do that. It was really crucial, really important in your campaign. It means that it has its spirit inside. And I have a comment or a question. How should we do politics? I mean, those who are doing politics or who are preparing themselves to become MPs. Within the dialogue, we need to talk to everyone who defeated us too. And the politics are a sort of dialogue. It's an exchange of ideas. And of course, it is also respect, but there is also a conviction. And we need to fight for our conviction. We need to reach a better Chile, a better world. What's your opinion as a candidate for the presidency of the Republic? What's your opinion? How do we have to work? How do we have to do politics with our enemies, adversaries? And I have, there is a really complicated question which appears in all of our societies. How fight against the dictatorship of the minorities? Of course, we need to respect the human rights of everybody. But at the same time, when we are talking about the Afro-Americans, the indigenous people, all kind of minorities, should not dictate the life of the whole society in the several countries. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Cecilia. First of all, the most important is not to lose your soul and spirit. In the context of politics, we have been always working on ideals, principles. We had a slogan, which was the pure truth. We had to change it, the la pura verdad in Spanish. Or my kids, my children told me that, Daddy, you are not the owner of the truth. And I had to convoke the strategists of my campaign in order to dialogue, to convince my sons, my children, and I had to change the slogan, which was believe in politics. So the strategist said, I can't, I shouldn't. And then we just invited young people that had a really different proposal as what I had imagined. They told, I thought that the campaign should be of a single color in order to be identified easily. I had this idea, and they told that no, we should use all the colors of the rainbow. The rainbow is not from the gays, and my kids told me that it's great. We love this idea, so we changed to um, to a campaign with several colors. Um, it, it is really important to see persons that always dare to do everything. That was the origin of our slogan of dare to raise your voice, but it's really important at the same time the soul, to keep our soul. Other question, how should we do dialogue? We have been always open to the dialogue. We are categorized, classified as fascists, homophobes, xenophobes. I don't have any problem with the homosexuals. We have plenty of YouTubers del movimiento republicano. I'm not xenophobe at all. I'm son of immigrants in Chile, but I I don't defend the uncontrolled immigration, because otherwise all of our networks would be collapsed. I don't talk about the wall of Trump, and yeah, I told it, okay, the wall was changed for a trench, for a ditch, and that ditch can avoid the entering of thousands of immigrants. It's easy because the immigrant can see that there is a physical border, and in that time we were discussing about the ditch, and now the ditch is being built. And someone called me that, hey, Cast, how was it, that stuff about the ditch? So this is our position, and we haven't ever accepted to be accused by the leftists that we didn't want to dialogue. They are not open to the dialogue. We are democratists. I won always with a democratic majority. They are the people that don't dialogue. They destructed my image, because during many time they were talking about me as a fascist, as a Nazi. And this is something that has to be changed. When Ibanez asked me that what would I like to change, well, I would change what I did 8 years ago. I would tell today reporters that we are not xenophobes, we are fascists, and so on. And how will the MP doing it? We with politicians, we have to dialogue. People that are able to cross the borders, they can show that we are democratists, democrats. And nowadays, we are entering the dictatorship of the minorities. And we need to show to the societies that will be the end of our societies. We need to show to the citizens that we are losing the democracy in this way, and at the end it will become a dictatorship of the minorities, as you have told it. So the leftists always defeated us from the perspective of the emotions, and we were really surprising because it was there was a person saying that he voted to Boric, but he was really attracted by voting to Cast, because always listening the song Vota dos, Vota Cast. So we need to synchronize this society that changed this, the mobile, which is a really important tool that distracted us completely. Nowadays, the youngsters, they have no personal contacts. They are connecting to each other by their cell phones, their mobiles, and we need to abolish the myth of who we are. The first time when someone suggested me to do TikTok, I was asking what the TikTok is, and I told it I never ever will do or would do TikTok. And at the end, I had to give up, and I did this TikTok. You can see it. So with this TikTok, my mother-in-law told me that no, it's not, this is unacceptable. Some friends of mine told me that don't talk me anymore. Jose Carlos Mesa, this is an MP in this moment, and just a second. There are other persons. With them, we could show, we could reach all this thing with the TikTok, with a sense of humor. Well, I can't find it, but anyway, you can visit my TikTok, and this is very strange that this guy who told us so many things about not to do that, but this is really important really important tool.
Tus intervenciones, que no quiero dejar pasar.
Some people, as me as a Spanish person, there are some questions in terms of his Hispanity, and there is also a question: how can we help from Spain? How can we contribute to everything that is happening in terms of Latin American communism. And another one, I can also see that Pellegrin Castillo from the Dominican Republic and a person from Santiago de Chile also raised their hands. So this is something that is somewhat difficult to us, the question of the Hispanity, because we always speak about Latin America, and I've been to Spain in a political trip with Carolina Raya, with another youngster. And so it was a low-cost journey. And we learned what Airbnb meant. We learned what Ryanair means. So it was one of the biggest adventure because we had a crash landing basically at a military base, and we had to wait 3 hours because we had a delay, and we did not complain because it was so cheap. So with very few things, one can achieve a lot. And I had a chat, a conversation, and they said it's not Latin America, it's Hispano-America. But again, we from Latin America need to understand Latin America, and Vox helped us a lot in this respect. It has been a good example. Vox has been a good example. Usually we consider as Spain as some sort of a bad reference to Zapatero, politicians who obviously changed Spain towards the bad, and we always took their examples in terms of education, healthcare. We are a faithful copy of Spain, so we try to distance ourselves. And we can, when we look at the Partido Popular, we do not consider it an example to follow. Vox was a revelation to us, and we can see that Vox has helped us recognize and recover Hispanity, because here we can see that we succumbed to the topic of natives, of all the Black history that would have been the conquest of Latin America by European countries. So this is a work that we need to start. I also participate in a religious movement founded by a German, and from the 70s, Europe has to be reconquered from these countries, because faith is being lost in Europe, and not even monks can overcome these defeats in Europe. So I believe that we need to work a lot in terms of Hispanity, in terms of this hemisphere, and I believe that we need to do a lot in order to recover all this. So I believe that Vox also realizes how important it is to create networks at an international level and to have sufficient leadership. What happens is that in Chile, there were lots of networks of different parties, but actually it's all the same. So they never let youngsters get involved, and this is of key importance. If we create networks, it is to create spaces, to provide space to the youngsters, and not for us to reserve all this. Thank you very much, Jose Antonio. We need to call it a day shortly, but I would like to hand over the floor to Pellegrin Castillo from the Dominican Republic. Very hearty welcome and greetings to Lola, to Jaime, to Jose Antonio, to everybody. And Jose Antonio, congratulations to all your success, which amidst all these difficult circumstances, you can still raise hope. Basically, a question from my side, which has to do with the topic of Chilean territorial integration. It is a bit worrying that in the Chamber of Deputies, as you also mentioned, the character of the state, of this plurinational and intercultural state, very much along the Bolivian lines, which has a very special and unique character. And this makes us ask two questions. One has to do with the subject, with the debate of Bolivia, because Boric also raised this question. Boric actually raised this question before as a political movement, as a political activist. And now we could see that this subject, well, it has not returned, but we would like to know whether within the strategy of Boric's government and within the Chamber of Deputies, the topic of Bolivian access to the sea is addressed. And another question is a continental question in terms of fishing. Chile has been the continental leader in terms of rights to the sea, also developing the idea of presential sea in order to avoid fishing in the territory of other countries. The focus, the Republican focus, and the focus of the Chamber of Deputies in terms of maritime rights, will this be included in the Constitution? So the maximalist approach that has already been achieved, because Chile has been in the vanguard with the Declaration of Santiago in 1982, which has marked an important milestone in this regard. And once more, I would like to transmit my congratulations and thank you very much, Flora, for having this intellectual discussion. So, he's a vice president, or so Lola is just introducing Peregrin Castillo, saying his functions and his titles. So this is still being defined, Jose Antonio says. And I don't know if the Constitution will reflect pluriculturalism, but we would like to mark a difference with what happened in Bolivia and Ecuador in terms of plurinationalism, because that would be the beginning of the end in terms of the development and then the lifestyle and living standards of the Chilean, and it would lead to the dictatorship of the minorities. So this is still to be defined. As for Bolivian access to the sea, this has been solved for a time. The left will not address this topic because they realize that this would be an attempt against national integrity. So, and if they implemented it, or if they proposed it in parliament, they would lose, and they are more skillful than that. So they will not implement this idea. This is one of the subjects which Boric did not address. One of Boric's successes, and the left authorizes him, is that he passes from Boric to Boric. So he memetizes himself, as we'd say. He started to defend the armed forces. He started to speak well of the police, and he did not put into doubt the natural culture of the Chilean rodeo. And he can say whatever he wants to. And here, if there is a contradiction in what he said before, this will not be addressed anymore, unlike in our case. In terms of the sea, Luis Fernando maybe knows it better, but what is clear to me is that the idea is development. I would like to defend the idea of the ancestral seed. So not to produce more maize, more corn, but to recover the seed of ancestral peoples. they would like to put an end to mining because this is supposed to be extraction, which does not coincide with the defense of Mother Earth, Mother Nature. So all the copper, all the lithium, this should not be extracted. And in this respect, in this regard, they would like to take us back to the age of the cave people, and it is not comprehensible in terms of world development. The subject of the sea is very important to us, but they would like to have legislation changes in terms of fishing because they foster, they promote the fight between the classes in terms of the different industries. And we usually say that these complement one another. We need to take care of our natural resources, including the maritime ones. And both artisans and industrial fields need to prosper, need to complement one another, and not eliminating everything that is industrial and promoting only what is artisanship. And what we say about fishing, we promote biodiversity, but we will lose most probably our fishing quota if it continues like this. So it is not clear to me to what degree the convention already made headway. Luis Fernando is a maritime expert, he knows better, but it is still a huge challenge what will come out of all this, whether the determined deadlines will still be kept or new ones will be marked. Thank you very much. So we will hand over the floor to Luis Fernando. And Chiara Barchesi, I would also like to salute her, and we are very pleased to have her, but we will not have time for her, sorry. Luis Fernando, yes, thank you very much, Lola. And as for Jose Antonio's comments, there is a little bit of a debate in terms of the maritime regulation. This has been discussed also in terms of professors who are versed in maritime law. So if we put in one bag all the aquatic spaces, be it sea, lake, rivers, seawater, and sweetwater, and if we put all this in one bag, in order to defend Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and we basically give more rights to Mother Nature than whatever. So here we are getting into different logics, and we will see how this will evolve. But as said, we do not have a participation, serious representation in this. Whether we will have a referendum and we will exit this convention, it is very important that citizens be very well informed about what is happening in this regard. And as a second observation, Jose Antonio talked a lot about the cultural fight that is happening at an international level, the situation in terms of the international situation, and unfortunately, for very many years, we were very much paralyzed and less mobile. It is very important. There's a fundamental importance to end up with this paralysis. It is very important to go international in order to give space to dialogue, to get to know different cultures and realities. And current reality is of utmost importance. And it is very important to develop a strategy with measurable objectives. So it is very important to define objectives at short, middle, and long term. What are the concrete tasks? And these should really be put into practice. So there should be space for dialogue and space for work, which we should carry this out. We should we should address objectives, topics, because I believe that if we are so meticulous in order to achieve the positions that we achieved currently, I believe that we should not allow to be intimidated, but we should make use, we should profit from the opportunities. We are a group of people who are considered politically dead for 30 years, and currently we have an international positioning affecting and influencing people that we have never imagined. So we took a huge leap. We should not be allowed to be intimidated, and we'll do everything that is possible, and we would like to greet everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. And we also would like to hand the floor to Chiara, and after that we will need to call it a day and our meeting. Chiara, hello, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much to everybody who connected, who joined us, to all the Chileans, to all those who are watching from other countries and are interested about in Chilean reality. And transatlantic dialogues, all this discussion is very important, because it is important what happens in our countries. So indeed, I am the youngest MP from Chilean history, and I believe this also shows the confidence, the trust, which also implies a risk, but we need to realize the stereotypes that we face, that the youngsters are considered to be leftists, but it is not like this. And this trust, this confidence that they placed in us is very important. The youngsters need to be politically active. It's huge responsibility, which we assume very happily. And hopefully we can also join the Congress, and we can make concrete steps for our country. And I would like to greet everybody really warmly. And I believe we have lots of things to do. Jose Antonio is indeed an example that motivates us all to give 100%. Thank you very much, and wishing you all a very good afternoon. Thank you, Chiara. And here we would like to say goodbye. Jose Antonio, if you wish, or Jaime, if you wish to make a final comment, feel free. And after that, we will bid farewell. Just a very short comment. Watch out with the youngsters, because as said, they are changing and they will start controlling us, which is great, excellent news, because as Luis Fernando also said, we need to mark our objectives, determine our objectives, and the objective is there, even if we do not fulfill it until the deadline. So thank you very much to all, Lola, Jaime, everybody, and let's keep on working, because the future will always be brighter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all. And Andrea Garzon from the Programa Joven is also here with us, but unfortunately we need to end it. So Andrea, if you just would like to wave to us, just greet to us. Yes, I would just like to greet and thank you for the time, for the example that you provide to us youngsters with such MPs who lead the battle. And I would like to join and share Jose Antonio's word. So you're a big reference. Do not stop working, for looking out for the truth, for seeking the truth, because this is what we need to recover. And definitely all this work, all this service, this true service in politics. So let's go on working in this network for our values. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea, for representing the youngsters of our leadership. Thank you, Jaime Mayor, for being with us, for your company, for your words. And if you'd like to add something else, just go ahead. Okay, great. Well, in that case, thank you very much to all of you. And this webinar is recorded. It will be available on our webpage. And thank you. See you all soon. Thank you.
Gracias, buenos días.
Un gusto, un abrazo.
Adiós, Rodrigo, Iván y todos. Carlos.
Adiós, Javier. Cuídate. Nos vemos.